Hey everyone, me again. Today I wanted to film a review of the Rimmel Lasting Finish Foundation. This claims to be a skin perfecting full coverage foundation. It also has SPF 20, which is a nice bonus. And of course mine is in the palest shade, which is 010 Light Porcelain. So first I want to show you how it applies, and to do that I am just going to pin back my hair and also put on some of the Primark Instagirl Selfie Ready Blur Primer. This is my go-to primer at the moment. So this is the palest shade that they do. This is 010 Light Porcelain, but it is quite a orangey, pinky sort of shade, and it is maybe a little smidge too dark. I'm just wearing this really sheer just as something to even out my skin. Then I can usually get away with this shade, but usually when I'm building it up to full coverage I will mix a lightening foundation with this just to get the shade a bit more accurate. I actually applied it that way in my recent favourites video, so I'll leave the link to that somewhere on the screen now. But of course in today's video I am just going to wear it as it is, just so that you can see the shade properly. So I'm just going to smooth this on now with my expert face brush from Real Techniques. It just buffs and blends out really easily. The thing about long-lasting foundations is that usually they can be very matte and very dry, and because of that they don't always apply very easily. Usually I have to use my makeup sponge. But what I really like about this foundation is that it has the added comfort serum, and I think that's one of the things that just makes it a lot easier to apply, but also it's what makes it feel so much more comfortable than a typical long-lasting foundation during the day. So I've just turned down my lights so that you can hopefully see my skin a little bit better, but this is the side with one layer of the foundation on, and this is the side without, and hopefully you can see that my redness is definitely reduced on the side with the foundation. It's obviously not a full coverage foundation just with one layer. You do have to build it to get up to that level, but definitely even on the first coat you can see that it's really evened everything out. And on just an everyday basis I would be more than happy to just wear it like this. So for this side I'm going to use my sponge. This is the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. I really need a new one, but this will do the job for now. So I'm just going to pat everything in on my face. I've not got quite enough on, so I'm just going to get a bit more from the back of my hand and just put that straight on. The side of the sponge definitely looks a lot more natural. It looks a lot more like skin than the side with the brush. So I'm just building it up on the areas of redness. I don't want to wear very much concealer, if any, today, just so that you can really see the foundation and how it performs. So now I'm just going to take my smaller concealer brushes and I'm just going to try and use this foundation as a concealer, which I actually haven't done before, but like I said, I just want to wear as little concealer as possible in this review. It actually builds really well. It's definitely creasing a bit under my eyes, but I am in my late 20s now, so that's just going to happen with every product I use really. And I'm going to use an even smaller brush and just put this over my blemishes. It definitely oxidizes a little bit. Like I can see when I put down new foundation to kind of layer it, that it's much lighter when you initially put it on. I think I had the same problem with the Rimmel Match Perfection foundation as well, just from memory. I'll leave the link to my review of that foundation somewhere on the screen now, but I believe they are bringing out new shades and that one of them is paler, so hopefully they could bring out a paler shade of this. If they do, that'll be amazing. Okay, so I've finished applying the foundation now. Even though this isn't the first time that I've worn it, it is the first time that I've tried to use it as concealer, and I'm really pleasantly surprised at how well it's built up on my skin. But really with this foundation you can wear it sheer or you can build it up like this, and either way it will look lovely. It is starting to set a little bit now, but it doesn't feel too matte or too drying. That is the thing that I definitely like the most about this foundation. Like I've mentioned a few times, the colour match is not the best. I think I can get away with it on camera. This is a really good foundation for filming, but in real life you can see that my neck is a little bit lighter. The main reason that I like this foundation so much, and the main reason that I actually bought it in the first place, is because it lasts so well. I can definitely see why a lot of people use this as their everyday foundation. If I've got a day where I am going out all day, or I just need to have my makeup on for the entire day, I know that this foundation will work really well for me, and I can pretty much guarantee that it will last through anything because this is the foundation that I wore to Crystal Maze. If you don't know what Crystal Maze is, it was a TV show in the 90s here in the UK, and they actually have a live experience in Manchester. It's amazing, 10 out of 10, highly recommend it. But this is the foundation that I wore on the day when I went there. It's a very hectic day, you are running around a lot, you are doing all kinds of crazy challenges, there is a lot of adrenaline going on, but this foundation looked amazing when I was done, which is why I'm wearing it today when it's like 70% humidity. If you've been around for a while, you might remember that I reviewed the Revlon Colour Stay foundation last year, and that was previously my favourite long-lasting foundation. But this one does feel a lot more comfortable on my skin, and it's definitely a lot easier to apply as well. Not to mention, I think this is a few pounds cheaper. I think the Lasting Finish foundation from Rimmel is about £8 or £9, and the Revlon foundation is maybe about £12, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, I'm going to finish off the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. Okay, so the rest of my makeup is on now. I have set everything with a powder, but I haven't used setting spray. I do normally use setting spray on an everyday basis, but I try not to when I'm doing foundation reviews, and because I've skipped that step this time, I do feel like my skin looks a lot drier than it usually does. Especially on this side where I used a brush, I do feel like it's kind of emphasising pores a bit more than this foundation usually does. That's not the end of the world. I'm sure after a few hours that will kind of settle down once my natural oils start coming through and all that stuff. And it still looks a lot better than other mattifying, long-lasting foundations that I've tried in the past as well. The final part of this review is going to be a wear test. Now, I did say earlier that I've worn it to Crystal Maze, and I've also been wearing it while it's been quite warm recently, so I'm quietly confident that this is going to look very good at the end of the day when I come back later. I'm not doing anything too exciting. I'm going to be walking the dog and going to the supermarket and all of that other stuff, but I will come back this evening before I wash off my makeup and just show you how it's worn throughout the day. So yeah, I'm gonna head off now and I will see you guys later on. Bye! I completely forgot to say this earlier in the video, but by the time I had finished my makeup and so on, it was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and now it is 8 o'clock in the evening. So this foundation has been on for 7 hours. I didn't use the setting spray this morning. I did set it with powder, but I haven't touched it up throughout the day. I haven't reapplied any powder. I haven't used blotting paper at any point. Not only that, but it is very humid at the moment and it is quite warm, in case you can't tell, because I feel quite flushed at the moment. So with all of those things considered, I think that it has worn really well. You can't really see any flaws from a distance. It still looks completely fine to me. I would happily go to the shops like this, go to a friend's house. I think if I wanted to maybe go out for the evening properly or film some videos or something along those lines, then I might want to perfect it a little bit, but I wouldn't have to take it off. I could probably just touch up a few little bits here and there and it would be completely fine. So there's definitely a bit of shine in my usual areas, so I tend to get shiny just around my nose and above my lip and below my lips as well. So all of those places are shiny. That's very normal for me. It has worn away some of the foundation, but it still looks completely fine. It doesn't look like there's a big patch of makeup missing on my face. It all works together, if that makes sense. Oh, there's a bit of mascara under my eye, brilliant. So yeah, I've got a bit of shine, but I'm not greasy. I might look a little bit shinier at the moment to you, but that's because I'm using professional lighting and that will be bouncing off my face, but in real life, just take my word for it, I don't look overly shiny at all. And there are definitely other days where I've worn less foundation, just very sparingly, and when I've done that, I've found that it lasts even longer than this. It is looking a little bit dry underneath my eyes, but it's hard to find a product that doesn't do that. And I was actually surprised that I could build it up enough to kind of cover some of my more prominent spots, and they've actually stayed covered throughout the day as well, which was a very pleasant surprise. So yeah, the foundation has definitely worn. It doesn't look exactly the same as it did when I put it on earlier today, but it doesn't look that bad either. I've definitely tried foundations that look much worse than this after 7 hours. And yeah, if I had somewhere to be, which obviously I don't because I don't have any social life, but if I did have to go out, I would be more than happy to just go out like this. So those are all my thoughts on the Rimmel Lasting Finish Foundation. I really hope that you found this review helpful if you were thinking of buying it or if you're just curious about it. If you do have any questions, if there's anything I haven't covered, just ask me in the comments section below and I will get back to you. I'll also leave a link in the description box to my other foundation reviews because I've done quite a few at this point. That's everything for now. Take care. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.